Welcome to Business Outlook, a podcast by the Albuquerque Journal where we focus on 4 revolving themes: real estate, small business, emerging leaders, and technology. If you enjoy our podcasts, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us continue to bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. See the show notes for a discount on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading local news source. Hi, welcome back to the Business Outlook podcast, brought to you by CNM. I'm Ryan Boetel with the Albuquerque Journal, and today's podcast is on real estate. My guests are Jessica Beecher. She's the broker-owner of Remax Select and the owner of Mission Winery and Central Bodega in Nob Hill, and Howie Kaibel. He's the Minister of Culture at Matucci's, and he's on the board of directors of Nob Hill Main Street.
CNM is truly one college with infinite possibilities in tech and data sciences. CNM offers programs where everyone can learn about software, apps, or how to build websites. You can also choose from AI programs and machine learning, the Internet of Things, and so much more. CNM, one college, infinite possibilities, and a proud sponsor of the Albuquerque Journal's Business Outlook.
Jessica and Howie, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, Jessica, you kind of wear multiple hats of the different topics that we talk about on this show, because you have some small businesses on Nob Hill, and then you're also in real estate. Now, Mission Winery just recently opened in September.
Correct. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that operation and how things are going just in the first couple months.
So it's been a wild ride. We bought that building, so it's in the old Zacatecas that was empty for 5 years. And so we were really excited to bring life back into that space because it's a really great building. So we've been working on remodeling it the last about year and a half. And then we opened in September to the public. And then 3 weeks later, we had a car crash into the building.
That's right.
Yeah, which was an unexpected, not fun surprise for us. But we quickly sealed up the building in that area, kind of sectioned it off, and kept staying open after just a few days because we didn't want to completely shut down. So we are open. We are actually we have a downstairs space as well that we are opening this weekend that will be called the Parlor Room by Mission Winery. And that's going to be more of a sports bar, dark, kind of speakeasy type of space. So we're excited for that. Yeah.
And Howie, Matucci's, it seems like just in recent years, keeps adding new locations. And the Nob Hill one was one that really, I think, took a lot of people in the community, just took a lot of notice of it. You moved into a historic building. Talk to us about that move into Nob Hill.
Yeah, I think I should briefly recap like the start of the company. If you think about it, they opened their first restaurant on the west side at Coors and Montano, and the owners were immediately scorned by the locals for not going more inner city. And they said, you know what, the west side needs a great restaurant. And then they went out to Rio Rancho, and again they were told this is not a good idea. It was incredibly successful. That's when they started moving into the city and did a restaurant at I-25 in Jefferson. And then when the thing about this company is they are not necessarily looking for opportunities, but when opportunities present themselves that are just too great to pass up, that's what happened with that building in Nob Hill. It's a historic landmark. Everyone knew it as Kelly's for many, many years, as one of the first brew pubs in town, and just one of the best patios and people watching spaces in the city. So when that opportunity presented itself, they finally said, yes, this makes sense for this company. And it has been incredible. The neighborhood has embraced us. The city has just said, you're a perfect fit. And it's been wonderful. I've seen nothing but cooperation from all the nearby business owners have come over from day one and dined at our restaurants. We are trying our best to support all the neighborhood businesses as well. That's why I'm on the Nob Hill Main Street board.
Yeah, exactly. So because you're an advocate for just Nob Hill in general. How would you describe Nob Hill? Why is Nob Hill important to Albuquerque as a city?
Oh, it's the most eclectic small business just area in the city, without a doubt. If you think about it, there's not a franchise business in that 8 or 10 block period, area. And that's rather extraordinary in the age of Amazon, that we have retail that is still not just surviving, but thriving. We have shops there that have been around for 20 plus years. And then there's all of the dining, all of the entertainment. There's, as you had said when we talked about this initially, there's also lots of family-friendly stuff. It's not just a place where the college students go to party. It's everybody can spend. There's a way to spend the day or a week. If you are coming here from out of town, now we have hotels. We have a boutique motel. We have another hotel that's planning to open in the next couple of years. And that's just, that makes Nob Hill a destination.
And Jessica, also, can you just describe what is Nob Hill proper? What are those streets that it encompasses?
So on the west is Girard, that's our boundary over there. And then if you go to the north side, that's Lomas. On the east side is Washington, and to the south is Garfield.
And it seems like it's a pretty walkable area in all aspects of that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's, one of the main things that draws people down there to live and to just come and visit, to shop and eat, is that it is walkable. You can hit multiple locations all in one day. You can make a whole girls' day, boys' day, whatever you want it to be. Family day, we have a lot of family-friendly things down there as well for people to do. The Lobo is always showing different stuff and hosting different events. And also, too, with that walkability and that kind of boundary, because we have those specific boundaries and Central runs right in between, right through the middle of Nob Hill, that's kind of our core. We have lots of fun events there every year, too. So we have, Summerfest. The original Summerfest has, been in Nob Hill. We have the Twinkle Light Parade that's coming up here in December, which is amazing. So we have this nice ability to also be able to shut off Central right in the heart of Nob Hill and have these fun events every year. So.
Mm-hmm. Because when it comes to like a walkable community space, I mean, I think of Old Town, I think of Downtown, and I think of Nob Hill. And Nob Hill kind of has its own niche in a way. Downtown's going out at night and maybe catching a show. Old Town's kind of a touristy, like a front porch to Albuquerque. And Nob Hill, I mean, day and night, there's kind of something for anybody to do, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Jessica, have you done much real estate work in Nob Hill?
Oh, absolutely. So we have several locations with Remax Select, but one of them is in Nob Hill on Central. And my office has consistently sold the most real estate in that neighborhood. I have brokers that have been selling in Nob Hill for over 30 years. And so we are very in tune with that area, both residentially and commercially.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what... how is kind of the real estate market in Nob Hill? What are the trends that you're seeing in the last 4 years, maybe since the pandemic to now? I mean, rent's going up everywhere across the country, so I'm sure that is a...
It is, for sure. So, because we are such a unique area and we have so much to offer, we are, to me, the only true walkable neighborhood day and night that people want to come to all the time. So rents are pretty high compared to some of the other parts of the city, but we consistently have new people coming in. And, like Howie said, it's all small businesses that want to be a part of that community. So they're willing to pay that extra rent because they know that they're going to be a part of a great community that's supported by each other. And also they know that we have so many people coming down there and walking around. So they're going to be able to be successful by getting in front of those people. Yeah,
because, I mean, you're a real estate professional. I mean, you started a firm and you're moving. I mean, you've created 2 small businesses in Nob Hill. So you could have gone anywhere in the city and you picked Nob Hill. So you must have done that for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. So when we first opened up Remax Select, we picked Nob Hill because my husband and I love Nob Hill. He grew up in that neighborhood. I grew up in the Northeast Heights. Our first house we bought in the Northeast Heights, we lived there for 6 months, and then he had us buy another house in Nob Hill, and we moved back. So,
okay.
So we are really invested in that neighborhood. We love it. We've been we've been owners of property down there for over 16 years. And so we've seen the ebb and flow of what happens. And when it came to opening a different business, there really wasn't any other place in mind that we wanted to go to. We wanted to reinvest into that neighborhood. Central Bodega is in a spot where it's one of the only 2 stories, like fully functioning 2 stories besides like Monte Vista. And it was Hey Johnny was a store there for many, many, many years. And so people were really sad when that space closed. So we were excited to go back into there. And then same thing. People are like, why would you open another business across the street from your current business? You're your own competition. I'm like, no, we're not. There's plenty of room for everybody down there, and they're completely different concepts. So
okay. And so for those of people who don't know, kind of explain the concept of the Central Bodega.
Yeah, so Central Bodega, people are a little confused by the name. They think it's a store just because of like New York City. The Bodega is that name. But actually, it's based off of a European concept where you're bringing together multiple cultures and having that sale from that place. So we really focus on European cuisine there. So we have some Italian, not too much because Matucci's is right down the street. But a lot of Spanish, a lot of French, and then also Greek food coming out of there. So kind of all the Mediterranean countries. And restaurant, wine bar. We have a great cocktail program. We have amazing mixologists that we're lucky enough to have. So,
So, Howie, Jessica talked about the ebb and flow of Nob Hill, and because we've ran stories here that some longtime staples of Nob Hill, like O'Neill's and Slice Parlor, recently closed. Yet you have other business owners who are taking a stab and trying something new and opening up new stores there. So you have new ones coming in, you've got old ones going out. What should somebody make of that, just a person in the community?
I appreciate the question. Number one, Jessica, I just want to note that I love your bodega. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
And So I think I can speak to this question because I also spent 9 years as a community manager for Yelp here in town. Mm-hmm. And I moved here in 1999 from Minneapolis. I remember Nob Hill when it was Bow Wow Records and Natural Sound and lots of other businesses like Martha's Body Bueno, which is no longer around. Okay. But I remember the heyday back in the early 2000s when that neighborhood was just humming and it was so fun to be in. And then I was there for the art construction in the early, in the second decade of the 2000s and how difficult things, and then what they had to weather with the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I can say, I was just in our restaurant yesterday and I asked about Halloween because I wasn't around, and they said, "Oh, it was kind of a slow night early on, and then right at about 9 o'clock, all of these people stormed in, and we realized that like they were all getting sustenance before they went out, and mm-hmm. Hit all of these bars and restaurants, but." They were like, one of our managers said, I feel like Nob Hill is back. Like there are so many interesting, fun, exciting businesses now, mm-hmm. And quirky, unexpected. I was there and, there's a brewery in the back alley off of Central that you're just not going to know unless you're walking the sidewalk and you see a sign that says, hey, brewery back here. So it's that kind of thing that I think we're seeing just a resurgence. It's taken a while. The economy took a hit, but it's just fun to be back in that neighborhood.
Okay, cool. So, and I'm also from the Midwest, but I mean I've lived in Albuquerque for about 10 years. So there was a Nob Hill heyday maybe before I even got here that you're trying to kind of reestablish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we those of us who grew up here know it well, and it was a natural consequence. The economy, took a hit, and so did Nob Hill.
Okay. And that's what's also kind of interesting because now that you're talking about your businesses, you are in competition with each other. You sell Italian food and she has some Italian food, but yet you're both here talking together and kind of bragging on each other's restaurants.
I'd love to make a note about that because the founders of Matucci's, fascinating people, great people, Jeff and Katie, opened 11 restaurants in the middle of Manhattan over 23 years. Mm-hmm. So they're restaurateurs that know what they're doing. They hired and fired Anthony Bourdain twice.
Oh, really? Okay.
19. Okay. So these guys have chops. And when we opened our Nob Hill restaurant, we had a full week of soft openings where we invited all the neighbors, all the business owners, everybody in town to come and just break bread with us. And I remember the second night we were open, and I was sitting next to our founder, Jeff, and someone came over from another restaurant owner came over to Jeff and said, "Hey, don't you think that it's a little risky to just invite all of us over to, when we're really your competition?" And he said, "You haven't operated a restaurant very long, have you?" Because in New York City, the way that our restaurants not only survived but thrive was when other restaurants opened up right next to us, because that's what brings in all of the other people. So it's not about competition. It's about like the more of us are out there, the stronger we are.
It's about creating that neighborhood environment where people can go walk around and kind of choose their adventure. There's lots to choose from.
Absolutely.
And people have so much fun doing that too, coming down there. And so many people are like, "Oh, we're just going to have an appetizer here, and then we're going to go have dinner over here, and then go to Teddy Rose, for cocktails afterwards." So that's, I think, a big draw to Nob Hill, is that there are so many different special places that you can just kind of like pop around to. So, yeah.
Now, from your firm does a lot of residential work. From a residential perspective, Nob Hill isn't as dense as downtown, but a lot of people want to live there and spend time there. Are there efforts to create more and different types of housing in the Nob Hill area?
So we've had apartments built maybe a little bit east of Nob Hill proper, probably. Like the Broadstone was put up a few years ago. We have another one, high-end luxury apartments, that's going to be built on Silver and Wellesley that they're starting construction on right now. So there is some effort to make it a little bit more dense. We've had condos built down there. We have quite a few different condo places down there. But, it's hard because we're historic. So there's a lot of properties that are on the historic register down there. You can't make changes to. You can't knock them down and build up, big skyscraper type of things. And we also have restrictions on height down there as well that downtown doesn't have to face. And so, we can only go a few stories high when we're doing development. And the Nob Hill Neighborhood Association is really passionate about that, because that is also what draws a lot of people to want to live in Nob Hill, is that we have these amazing, historic, really cute houses all over the place. And they don't really want to take away from that. And so they hold pretty strong on how much developing they kind of allow down there. So.
Yeah. So you have the historical buildings, and then also you're talking about like the Nob Hill overlay, right? There's like it's sort of like an ordinance on top of the zoning. It's like a zoning on top of zoning or something.
Exactly, it is. Yeah. So we fall into the city of Albuquerque, so we have all their zoning stuff, but Nob Hill itself has an overlay on height restrictions and how dense you can be, how many, all of our setbacks, all of that kind of stuff. And then we also have some cool grandfathered things in too as well, because most of our lots are pretty small down there. We do have a lot of houses that have guest houses built on them. So that was really important when that kind of change in zoning was going through, about being able to do that, because lots of people love having that opportunity to live in their house and then have a guest house in the back that they can rent out, either Airbnb or we have a lot of like professors and people from the base that are only in town for a few months at a time. So.
Okay. So that was what I was kind of getting at, because like Nob Hill, place that we want to see thrive as a city, people want to live there. You can't develop like an 8-story condo complex. But,
correct.
So you're in real estate. What are the advantages and disadvantages to that?
I think that overall I have been a proponent of maintaining that and not having those huge buildings. Again, I think that we are so unique and so special in what we can offer. And we have people that come that want to, live in these houses. I'm sure that Howie can attest to this too. All of our businesses down in Nob Hill thrive because of the neighborhood and the support from the neighborhood. And people that live down there want to come and support. They want to come and visit us. They love that they can walk from their houses, But I think most of them love that it is kind of small in ways, right? That it's not going to be ever, downtown. We're not going to ever have, thousands and thousands of people living in one tiny little area. It is kind of a little bit more spread out. And I think people appreciate that. So, yeah.
It sounds like what you're saying is Nob Hill's got charm. And Howie, you're on Nob Hill Main Street. What do you think is that charm of Nob Hill that you would like to keep and grow? I mean,
I think it's the Pueblo revival architecture. It's interesting when we took over that building in Nob Hill, I did some research. Turns out that someone else had done some great research on the building that opened in 1939 as a gas station and service station and car dealership, but that was part of a entire architectural movement, which shows up in the homes and the businesses. Pueblo Revival is really about taking the sort of that 1940s-esque sort of noir style of architecture and adding a very human, softened sort of element to the structures. And that's, I think, what makes people so comfortable in the neighborhood is they're seeing this really interesting architecture and they're going, you know what, this is on a human level. It's like the University of New Mexico. That's actually designed in the same function. It when you go on that campus, you don't feel like you're on, you're an Ivy League place with, these towering old buildings that are supposed to make you feel small. Our architecture is just unique, and when people come and visit, especially when they're taking that Route 66 drive for the first time, and they're seeing a snapshot of this country when everyone was moving out west, and the way that Albuquerque decided to invite people in was to create this architecture that was really inviting. So.
And is that like Matucci's? Do you follow that architecture? I don't know a lot about architecture. I know it's a beautiful building.
Yeah,
but that's about all that I know. So if you could, but I mean, how would you just describe it? And also just the importance of that patio. I always think Albuquerque could really take advantage of patio season since it's so long. But you've got one of the top patios in Nob Hill. But yeah, what went into what were you trying to do just into designing the Nob Hill location?
Well, to Jessica's point, we're not allowed to do much with the exterior because it's a historical building, and we love that. We didn't want to touch that. So if anything, we just cleaned that up a little bit. We did a tremendous rebuild to the interior that won us a really important, impressive architecture award. So I'm blanking on the exact name of the, it was a modern with an E.
Okay.
Architecture approach that a very well-known local architect had put into making that building. You can actually read all about it because I put together a huge timeline of the building that is in the hallway to our restrooms in that restaurant.
That's right.
So please pop in and
Yeah.
take a look. But it is, so you're right. We didn't touch the exterior. We have that great patio, and actually, we just landed a grant with Visit Albuquerque to improve that patio. So we're going to be doing it. What we want to do is make it all weather. We want some misters for those hot days and some and shade coverings, and we also want to celebrate the history of it. So I'm going to be adding a historic plaque to it. We're going to have some signage that tells the visitors about the history of Nob Hill. We want to just invite people to learn more about the history of the neighborhood because it's got a just terrific history, and it's like Martinez Town and some other parts of this city. It's got its own character.
Yeah, for sure. And one part of that character is it's right next to the university. There's university students who live in that neighborhood. When Slice Parlor closed, I know their owner said, it's Nob Hill. It's becoming tough to run slice joint that caters to college kids with $3 slices of pizza.
Yeah.
How does Nob Hill welcome the college students that live nearby? And what are the how do they entertain themselves in Nob Hill?
I think that and I spoke with one of the owners of Slice Parlor, and they had Salt and Board too, which Salt and Board they sold. So that was, a whole other story. But, I think with the college kids, it's amazing. We have had, over the summer, we had so many graduation parties, and it was a lot of a younger crowd. And it was, college, but also high school. And they were like, we've heard about this place. We want to go to this and do that. So, I think that there's definitely lots of cool places for them to go down there to have lunch. Matucci's is open still for lunch, which is great. You guys are always busy. It's nice to have that available. We have Il Vicino for pizza still. Two Fools is a huge favorite, I think, of all the college people, of everyone, actually, right? Everyone loves Two Fools.
For sure.
So we have a lot of great places that they can still, go to and explore and have fun. And then for the older ones in college, we do have, a nightlife down there as well. So it's nice and safe for them to be able to walk and go out and have some drinks and walk back to wherever they're living nearby, and know and feel that they're comfortable with it. So
yeah. And that goes back to what we were talking about, how Nob Hill is that kind of entertainment district for people of all ages.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To kind of close up, how has Nob Hill been successful with, in the age of Amazon, big businesses, corporate America, yet every business in Nob Hill is a small local business? How does that ecosystem exist?
I think that, obviously it's only because we have the support of so many people. And I think that even though Albuquerque, we always call it's like a big little town, right? So it's huge. We have, in the surrounding areas over 1 million people, but it still feels small. And I think that we still have this amazing culture where we have so many people that want to support local and want to support these small local businesses. And so they make that effort to come out and support everyone. And, like What's in Store is a retail shop that just opened about a year ago. And they're doing amazing. And it's because I think, one, they're offering products that are unique and different. A lot of different local brands, of soaps and jewelry and food and all of this different stuff that they have in there. But I think also a lot of people there's still a group of people out there that want to physically see something and touch something and experience that, right? So for the retail shops down there, I think that's what they thrive off of, is those people that want to do that, one, support local, and two, still have that in-person connection with people and have someone to talk to and say, hey, I have a party coming up for so-and-so's 80th birthday. Help me find the perfect gift, right? You're not going to really go on Amazon and get that kind of support.
Yeah.
So...
And Howie, what about you? What do you think makes Nob Hill successful in that local retail environment?
I think Jessica nailed it. You can't. I have in the 16 years that we've been married, I've bought jewelry for my wife's birthday every year from Uwa Jewelry, and I have to go in and like just I have to. She's very specific about what she likes, and half the time I'm wrong. She has to return it and get something else. But I know her basic style, and I need to touch it. I need to see it right there. There's no way I'm clicking a button on the internet and hoping that it's gonna be what it looks like on my phone. And so that tangible experience, and that goes for eating. And, I was thinking about your question about college students and, you think about like the fun, eclectic things that they can do now, from Happy Accidents to Fat Stacks, which has this like hip hop take on burgers. Like, there's that realm. There's also, Smoky Note, which just opened up in the Monte Vista Fire Station, which has this very elevated, definitely more welcoming vibe for the older set in general. It's not a college vibe, but it's that's just part of being human, is just having these very tangible experiences in the real world.
Great. Well, Howie and Jessica, thank you so much for coming on. It's Howie Kaibel with Matucci's. Jessica Beecher owns Mission Winery and Central Bodega, and they're all in Nob Hill. Thanks for listening. Business Outlook podcasts come out on Monday afternoons and are available wherever you get your podcasts.
This is fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.